Right. So just to introduce it to everyone that's watching and listening, my name's Second Lieutenant Emery, and on this week's podcast, we've got a very special guest with us today, our company Sergeant Major Mansell, and my co-host, Sergeant Shellard. I guess we should start then. So why did you join the ACF? What pulled you into the Army Cadet Force?
Well, at the time that I joined, I didn't really have anything going on. I wanted to do something. I had lots of free time. So that was one of the main things. I saw it. I saw a couple of videos, looked on the website. The fieldcraft and shooting sort of pulled me into it, got me interested in it. So I decided to give it a shot. At the time, it was Second Lieutenant Tidy, who was my DC, before he obviously rised up the ranks. So he was the first person I met in cadets when I started. So that was really what pulled me in.
So is it like the kind of soldiery side, like you wanted to play soldiers a little bit?
Yeah.
Did you want to join the Army when you were younger?
It was something I thought about. I didn't really know when I was younger. I had no clue what I wanted to do. I mean, I still don't know what I want to do really. But
So you were saying earlier, what do you do now?
So I'm a computer engineer at the minute. So that's obviously one of the options I've got. But I mean, I've looked at the police. I've looked at joining up for a bit. So I've got quite a few options that I'm looking at doing.
I think the big thing to take away is, I think Sergeant Shellard would agree, is at the end, 17 now?
Yeah.
So that's still exceptionally young to know what you want to do. I think, again, many people join cadets at the age of 12 because they like the army or kind of the soldiery side of things. Would you agree, Sergeant Shellard? What do you think?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, I'm sure you were the same when you joined back in LNR. You probably had aspirations to join the military. I know I did, but obviously that path wasn't necessarily for me. So, so Major, how old are you when you actually joined?
I was under 12.
Yeah, so old 12-year-old. You say, yeah.
So
one thing I'd like to add on is, looking back from where you are now, is there any piece of advice you'd give your 12-year-old self starting cadets? If you could give yourself one piece of advice.
Yeah, listen to more people. When I joined, I didn't talk much, but I was quite cocky. When people were telling me things, I didn't really listen to what they were saying. But looking back on it now, if I'd taken on what they'd said and used that, I would have got in less trouble, definitely, when I started. And I would have been able to push myself a bit more.
Okay, yeah.
So, when you joined cadets, I mean, 4 or 5 years ago now?
Yeah, 5 years ago.
What did you want to achieve? I mean, obviously at the time you said that you joined cadets just because you were a bit interested in like the soldiery side of things. So you probably didn't really know what you wanted to get out of cadets at the time. But looking back at it, what did you actually want to achieve, do you think? So for me, for example, I know from my first time, so like Sergeant said, I kind of joined because I wanted to be a soldier. I still do want to be a soldier, but unfortunately, again, that's not the path for me. But yeah, so I when I joined, I wanted to be the company sergeant major, or the squadron sergeant major eventually, because I remember the first cadet that I saw was our company sergeant major, and I looked at him, I thought he was God. I mean, at the time, he would have been 17, 18. So I think that's what I knew, that's what I wanted to do in cadets. Did you have anything like that? Did you do a course or be specific?
I mean, when I started, I didn't really know what I wanted to get out of it. But looking back on it now, just rising up through everything, I wanted to be top dog, really, the sort of same thing that you wanted to be. I wanted to be able to be at that position and look back as to where I was and see how I got there, really.
Do you think kids or cadets look up to you in that way as you looked up to your senior cadets?
Yeah, well, I mean, back then I looked at our company sergeant major at the time, and I thought that I'd never be in that place, but obviously now I am. So at the time you don't think you can be able to get there, and you look up to the person who's there and think, wow, it must have been really hard for them to get there, which it is. You have to obviously push yourself quite hard to get there, but you don't think you can do it when you first join, obviously. everyone needs to know that they can. Everyone has that chance to be there.
So what do you think like stood apart about you, how you got there, and how so many other people unfortunately don't? Because there is only one sergeant major. What separated you? Do you think during your time in cadets? Do you think that you did anything special? Did anything different?
I mean, I think it was about what you put yourself forward for. So every opportunity that I got to do, every camp that I could go on, every course that I got asked to do or got told I could do, every event that I could, well, most of the events I could, anything I could do, I did. If I got asked to do something, I'd do it. And obviously that showed to the adults that I was committed to it, and I could go and put myself out there to go and do things that maybe some other people wouldn't do or chose not to do.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think Sergeant Challen and I look back on our careers, and I think that's what stood out for us. The reason that we did what we did in cadets was because we were committed to it, and still are now. I think that's the big thing, being 100% committed 100% of the time. We did a Q&A on our Instagram page yesterday, and one of the cadets one of the questions was, how do I get promoted to sergeant? I think we were saying that you need to give that 100% of the time. Oh yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying there. So we talked a bit about what set you apart going up the ranks. When you look back on your time in the ACF, what's your favourite memory? What do you look back at and think, oh, I'm glad I did that, or that was sick, that was amazing?
My 2017 annual camp, it was me and Culla Dobney. When we were on our exercise on that camp, we were with a company doing our 3-star board, and that was one of the best field exercises I think I've ever done. So I look back on that, and I thought that was great. That was probably my best memory.
So what was it about it was so good?
It was the way that it was put together. So not really a point about cadets, but a point about the way things are ran at the minute. Well, before obviously all of this. The field exercises, they aren't planned as much as they used to be. Obviously, the people who are planning them have changed, and people might not have the same sort of time to plan them, but the field exercises were really planned out, and the things that we were doing, there wasn't much time where we were sat waiting to do stuff. We were always out there doing something, and that was one of those camps where everything was get up and go. So I think that's what really set it apart from some of the other ones that I've done.
Yeah, it's being action packed. So the vibe I'm kind of getting is you very much like the soldiery stuff. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your favourite subject in cadets? Is it fieldcraft?
Yeah, fieldcraft followed by shooting followed by drill, I'd say.
It's basically the 3 big soldiery ones.
Yeah.
Do you think? Sorry, go on, shall
I was going to just tag a little extra one on your favourite memory in the ACF, but is there anything you look back on over the last 5 years and you regret not getting involved in? Something you wish you'd push yourself more towards, or something that you thought looked up from the outside in and gone, I really wish I was doing that?
There's a couple of camps that I didn't get to go on, and it's not that if I was there, I don't think I would have felt like I was missing out, but not being there, you look at everyone who's there and you think that you're missing out on something. And there's certain camps that I would have liked to go on that were just normal weekend camps, but it would have been good to be there with everyone.
Okay.
So I think that goes back to what you were saying earlier. Like, if you can't, you can't, and it's just life at the end of the day. But if you can, try and get on everything that you can. Namely, not just to get through the cadets, but so you don't have that FOMO, that fear of missing out. Cool. So we talked about your favourite memory. We talked a bit about some of your experiences. Obviously, as Sergeant Major, you've been on a few courses outside of the company. What's been your favourite course you've done?
Favourite course was probably SCIC.
What was good about SCIC?
So it wasn't just with our unit, it was with units from across the country. So obviously you get to see what everyone else has been up to around the country. And the amount of people that I met on SCIC compared to annual camps or weekend camps, there's so many more people there. So you really get to see cadets from everyone's everyone's sort of point of view on
Do
that.
you keep in contact with any of them still, or?
Yeah. There's quite a few people from there that I still talk to, and I'm quite good mates with some of them. So.
And would you say that was a benefit of going on these sort of wider courses, making friends from outside of Nottinghamshire?
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
Do you look back at it and were you surprised by some of the cadet stories of what they're doing in the ACF? Because something that I've noted when I've gone on national courses or brigade courses is that different areas in the ACF do things slightly differently. Obviously, 99.9% of it's the same, but they've got their own little variations. So when I was a cadet in LNR, they do several things differently to the way we do it in A Company at the moment. Is that interesting to you? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I think that's quite a good thing. It's quite good to see what other people have been up to, because obviously then you can go back to your unit and go, oh yeah, this is something that we could look at doing, and then you can do more. Really, that's one of the good things about it.
Yeah, I'd agree. Again, I've had the question before. Do you think we should do more cross-county training? So obviously, in most counties at the 3-4 star level, a lot of the training is centralised at a county level. Do you think we should do more training, say, with Derbyshire ACF or LNR, Leicestershire, Northampton, Ruts?
Yeah, I think that would be good, because the people who are involved in running it is more wide. So obviously you've got more people who are doing it, and that way obviously you can do more things when you're doing it.
So if you could plan a camp then, or a weekend camp, or say an annual camp, what would be your ideal annual camp? What would you do on it?
A bit of everything really. So annual camps, when I first started, a lot of it was AT based. So we were going out doing rock climbing, mountain biking, and obviously that's been pulled back quite a lot. It'd be nice if we still did some of that. I remember my first annual camp, we did 3 days of AT, which was quite a lot. So it's at that point I was a bit too much, really. But one day of doing something less military based was nice, and I think would be good to still add on onto annual camps, as well as obviously all of the training and starboard passes that you can get from it.
Yeah, AT is the great equalizer, isn't it? So you don't have to be a super duper proficient soldier or a great shot or great at drill. Like 80s, because obviously we don't get a chance to do it that often, although it is there in the ACF, and it sets us apart as a youth organisation, the opportunities we do have, and especially with CCAT, the opportunities cadets that go off to do some amazing courses for relatively cheap. It's a great equaliser because we don't all have experience, don't have skill. There's not that much skill variation. It's just everyone's at the same standard. It's a good, fun way of doing some training outside of the military context, isn't it? So yeah, definitely. I think there are plans in Knox to do some more ACT. I think we have recognised that it's not fallen by the wayside really, but we're doing less of it. So I think that's been recognised, and we're trying to get back onto that.
I know Common definitely wants to push AT. He wants the adults to go and get qualified for that. So hopefully in the near future, AT will be definitely on the up. So that's something to look forward to, definitely.
Yeah, so carry on. So you got an 80 day on your annual camp. What else would you like?
Yeah, the 3-day field craft that we do, I think that's perfect amount of time really. You get, no matter what star grade you are, you get the longest experience out in the field that you have all year, and you can get all of your field craft signed off for whatever star grade you're doing. So that 3 days of field craft is definitely good to have there. Obviously most of the time the rest of the days are drill, nav, all of your other star grade subjects if they can fit them in, depending on obviously what star grade you're in for. But I think obviously the way that the commandant's doing it to try and focus annual camp around signing off whatever star grade you're going for, I think that was the right way to go. Because when obviously on my sort of first couple annual camps, we were going on annual camp during the week and not coming off with a badge or a new star grade. So the way that he's ran it now to sort of get you through all the stuff you need to get your star grade, I think that's good, because then obviously you can come off the most important camp of the year with something. So I think the way that it's ran other than obviously the day of 80 that we haven't got. The way that it's run is the right way to go about it.
Cool. So there's not much. So that's good to know, really, because so obviously the purpose of this podcast is to get to know you a lot more and to inspire our cadets to look up to you and obviously carry on and do what you've done in the ACF. It's also a great opportunity for our adults, and not just adults in not ACF but across the country and at regional command in high places, to listen your opinions on things and what you want to see in the ACF. So I think that's good. That's something that we should take away as adults, and especially at county level, to try and make sure we do some more AT. Have you done any CCAT courses? Would you do CCAT course if you've got the time?
If I got the chance to do it, yeah, I think I would do a CCAT course. I haven't done one yet. I know Bunyan's done a few of those CCAT courses. It looks like a great opportunity to get away from obviously all of the military side of the ACF and get a badge for something that's not so drill based. So yeah, I think I would do a CCAT course if I got the chance to.
Which CCAT course would you do? Or would you try and do one of the ones where they do like the multi-package so you get a chance to do everything?
Yeah. I think if I was going to do one, then I'd do one.
Yeah, cool. I think, yeah. So when I was there, I did the rock climbing course just because, to be honest, I did the rock climbing course because it said that they did abseiling on it. And because I was at 16 and I wanted to be in the SAS and they abseiled, and I was like, right, I'm going to do that course. I spent an afternoon abseiling, so I was robbed on that one. But I really enjoyed my CCAT course, and I think my biggest regret from leaving cadets was never really carrying that on. So I think that's something that I'd want to do. Cool. So we talked about courses a little bit. So a lot of things and a lot of people think being a sergeant major is really, really good. So I'm going to ask you the question, what's the worst thing about being a company sergeant major?
Not just being a sergeant major, but as you go up the ranks, obviously you're piled on more and more responsibility. So being a higher rank, you've got to deal with more things, and you've got more cadets who are coming up to you asking you stuff, which I get. But obviously, when you're on camps, you sort of got to lead the camp as such, alongside with the adults. So yeah, I'd probably say the worst thing is all the responsibility that's put on being a higher rank.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think, especially, I remember my time in your position, and it's hard because you're there as a cadet and you want to do cadet stuff. You want to do the training. You want to go off and do the cool stuff, but also you're responsible for making sure the other cadets are being taught as well. Because obviously, often as a senior cadet, you'll be a DS, so you'll be teaching cadets rather than doing training yourself. So there's that kind of pull. You've got lots of responsibility for the younger cadets, and then you also want to do the fun stuff. So I appreciate that. I do. So that's the worst thing, the responsibility and having to look after everyone. But what's the best thing as well? What is the best thing about being a company sergeant major?
Yeah, not just sergeant major, but sort of the more senior ranks and any rank really. I think the best thing about that is being able to pass down what you've learned and what you've done onto the people who are just joining, or the younger NCOs or the younger cadets, and being able to share with them what you've done and help them to obviously progress through and get to the point that you got to.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I think that's good. But that, as I said, it's a very difficult place being a senior cadet. You've got that, as I said, the responsibility of looking after everyone. You also want to do the fun stuff with your friends, and that gets less and less. But it is a privilege, especially as an adult, just to be able to like pass on our knowledge to you and then junior cadets. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Do you find it difficult balancing, so sort of like a work-life balance as such? So obviously you go on camps because you enjoy going on camps. You're still a cadet yourself. It's not like you're in charge as such. Would you say you find it difficult balancing that, having the time with your friends and having that good time yourself with the responsibilities of holding the post of the company sergeant major?
It depends what you're doing on the camps really, and which starboard you're with, and who you're helping out, or whether obviously you're going on training with the senior lads. So yeah, so it already depends what camp you're on. Obviously, I find DSing on annual camp one of the best camps, because depending on what style grade you're doing, if you're doing a 1-star board or a 2-star board, you still get the same training level of fieldcraft. And on annual camp, you'll normally, as a senior cadet, IC or 2IC of a section, or leading a section through something. So obviously you still get that sort of experience of doing all the stuff they're doing. But being a week, you get the chance to go and lead as well as having fun with everyone else. So
Appreciate that. Yeah, nice.
What was your favourite rank? Would you look back? What do you think was a favourite rank?
corporal was my favourite rank.
Why? Corporal?
Yeah.
Because it's the step before being a sergeant, so you're not classed as a senior NCO, but you've got the responsibility of leading your cadet or helping on a camp, but you don't have to be a senior NCO. So you sort of get, I think that's the best balance between having the responsibility you've got and being able to go out and enjoy yourself and not being too noticed by people if you are doing that.
I think I quite like the rank of sergeant, but I see what you're saying with corporal. You get the best of both worlds. You get like the respect and the responsibility that comes with that, but then also you don't have to do the difficult stuff. You don't have to if you go away on a weekend, you're not tasked with doing a lot of job. You can nice when you can. It's a good balance.
Yeah.
But obviously, glad to be the sergeant major. And yeah, so what are your aspirations in the ACF now? What do you want to go on to do if you've got the time?
Well, obviously the course I've got left to do in cadets are CLC and Master Cadet, which if I get the chance to do them, it'd be nice to be able to do them, just so I can finish things. But obviously when I joined cadets, I didn't really have an end goal. I just wanted to have fun and get as far as I could. So I'm happy with the place I've got, and if I had left at the place I am, or even if I hadn't got to the rank I had, I would have been happy with my time in cadets, getting to the places that I did, doing all of the things that I did. So if I get the chance, it'd be nice to do those 2 courses, and obviously doing a couple of CCAD courses if I get the chance. But yeah, so those are things I've got left to do, so it'd be nice to get them done. But if I don't get to do them, it's not really a big deal, and it would be nice to do them, but that's all I've got left.
Were you were put on to do your Master Cadet course, weren't you?
Yeah, I was put on to do it in April, obviously.
Yeah, that's fair.
When is it your time when you have to leave? When's your birthday?
October, end of October.
So hopefully, I know we're planning to resume training on 1st of June.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll come around that we'll be able to get you away on and get your Master Cadet done. So
yeah, hopefully.
That's something that hopefully you can look forward to. Have you heard much about the Staff Cadet program or looked into that at all? Or?
Yeah, I've heard about it. It's something that I've looked at. I mean, obviously the sort of commandant's point behind it, obviously was to extend what you can do in cadets. But I know that you mentioned that you didn't really want cadets joining straight back as an adult because you wanted them to go out and go and get some experience. So I don't think I'd personally do it, just because that gap in between leaving cadets and if you come back as an adult, I think that's a good time to go away and do some other things, and get some other things done. But yeah, I know some people have looked at it just so they can finish off some of the things they've got left to do in cadets. So I think that's a good idea.
Okay, yeah, I definitely agree with taking a gap. I personally had 2 years away from the ACF, and I think, like you say, that gap between being a senior cadet and coming back as an adult volunteer is something that is needed for some people. Some people come straight back and do brilliantly, but I think having that gap to gain some life experience as such is very valuable, definitely.
Cool. So just at this point, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back again shortly. before we had a break, we were talking a bit about staff cadet. So you said that you wouldn't come back as a staff cadet. Would you recommend others to come back as a staff cadet? Do you think it's...
It depends what they want. Yeah. It depends what they want to get out of it. If the stuff that they've got left to do as a cadet, I think it's a good idea for them to stay, just to complete what they want to get out of it. But if they've done everything that they want to do and they've got other opportunities to go and do stuff, then it might be in their best interest not to do it and to go and explore some other things. But if it's something that they want to do and the stuff that they want to finish off doing, I think that's a great way for them to do that, really.
Yeah, I think that is why it was brought in. I think it was a case of you'd have cadets at 17 that have done their SCIC but wants to do their master cadet, and they'd age out before they'd be able to get to do the master cadet. So I think that was why it was brought in, just to give cadets another opportunity to finish off their career, so to say. So we've had a really good conversation looking back at your cadet career and a bit about what you want to do in the future if you get time. When you look back at your career, is there an adult that you look up to at all? Is there anyone that stands out? Anyone that you appreciate doing something for you? Or
adult-wise, I would say Colour Smith, only because when I joined, he was so I see it that he was Sergeant Smith then. He hadn't long got it. But yeah, so when I joined, it was him, and he's taught me everything I know. Really, he's obviously stayed at Sherwood for most of my time in cadets. Obviously now he's a colour and he's the DC there, so he's gone through everything with me that I need and got me to the place I am, really. So that's why him.
We like Colour Smith. He does a lot for us. He's quite understated himself. I think he'd appreciate that, but the amount he does for cadets is unquestionable. Not only is he DC Sherwood detachment, whenever a minibus needs to be driven somewhere, he'd drive it. He's the county sports officer. I think if he's not driving a minibus and taking cadets across the country to do something for the weekend, I don't know what he does with himself. And that's what he does. And it's individuals like that it's important that they are recognised, and it's important. I hope people listen to this and hear that, just recognise the impact he's had on you, and I'm sure many other cadets.
Yeah.
I think Sergeant Edlard, you had a question that you wanted to ask.
I was going to say, like, adding on to adult volunteer, so taking you back to sort of when you were 12 years old, joining cadets for the first time, is there any cadet you walked in and you thought, I look up to that cadet after a couple of weeks, whether it's as sort of like a role model, as like a mentor, or someone that you just sort of aspired to achieve as much as such? Well,
there was a couple of corporals at my det when I first joined that I looked up to most, but they left as corporals because they had other things they wanted to do. But someone who stayed in cadets from my first and second camp, really, who taught me some stuff was Sergeant Smith. Now, as an adult, he taught me some stuff, and he was someone that I looked up to and went, oh, it'd be nice to be able to be in that position and hand down what he knew, obviously me and the people around me at the time.
Okay. And you've achieved similar to what he has, if you could say. He made it to company site major like yourself, and so you've achieved what you set out to in that respect, at least. So
hopefully, again, I think that's what we want to do. We're in this virtual ACF time now. We want our junior cadets to look up to you and see this and think, cool, I want to do that when I'm older. I want to have done what he's done in the future. Would you come back as an adult volunteer?
I think, I'd think about coming back. It's not something I thought about loads, but obviously the commandant now was talking about how he wants people to sort of take a break if they are leaving cadets and coming back as an adult. He doesn't want them coming straight back. He wants them to go out, get some life experience, have something that they've done outside of cadets that they can then bring into cadets. So obviously I wouldn't join back straight away, but it's something that I definitely think about later on down the line.
And outside of cadets, what do you want to do?
As I said earlier, I don't know exactly what I want to do, but I've got a few options I thought about. I mean, I've looked at the police. I've looked at joining up for a bit. I've looked at carrying on doing IT and stuff like that. So I've got a few things that I could do. That I'm thinking about doing.
Do you think the ACF has helped you kind of either narrow down what you wanted to do or give you options? Do you think the ACF has helped you? Would it help you pursuing any of those? Obviously, you've got the direct links with the army.
Yeah.
We are their youth organisation, to say, so it clearly helped in that regard. But say the police or continuing IT, do you think the ACF has given you the skills? Has it helped you in any way to pursue your goals outside of cadets?
Yeah, I think it's definitely helped. I mean, obviously, it's a massive confidence boost when you join cadets. When you start going up the ranks, you're given more stuff to do. You have to take on that. You have to sort of take on the leadership role, and that, and obviously the confidence that brings, that will definitely help. And obviously, it's something that you can put on your CV to show that you've got that, that you've got those skills, that you can obviously commit to something. You can keep at something. So it will definitely help me with whatever I want to do in the future.
Ooh, that's good to know. I think many people think, oh, cadets, you've got to join the army afterwards, or oh, it's only going to help you if you want to join the army. But I think what you'll find, and Sergeant Challen and I both can attest to this, is everyone joins cadets at the age of 12 thinking that they want to join the army. By 16, they realise there are other things other than the army. And by the time they're 18, loads of individuals go off and join the army, or they might have joined at 16. But I'd argue the majority of individuals actually don't join the army. They go off and do other things or pursue other careers. Again, Sergeant Shellard and I can both attest to that. We've not gone and joined the army. We're both pursuing careers in law. So, and that's got nothing to do with the army. So I think that is good to know and people to recognise, and good that you still recognise that it's more than just the army. It's a generally amazing way to set yourself up for life and give you that confidence, that aspiration, that ambition, and then also the drive to go and achieve that. I don't know whether you appreciate it now, but as we said earlier, it's hard to get to the position you have as company sergeant major. You've got to show yourself, you've got to show that you're good, but also that you're committed, and that can be difficult as well, especially during your teenage years when 15, 16, other things pop up in life. And yeah, it's difficult to stay committed sometimes, but I think you've shown that you can do that, and I think that's an inspiring thing for young people looking up to you now, which is a good thing. And yeah,
I think something you might not realise when you are going through the cadets is having that experience, that 6-7 years, or however long you spend in the ACF on your CV, can set you apart from someone that's not. It can show that you've got them personal skills, that commitment, that time management skills, and just set you apart. I know it's helped me get jobs in the past, and I know it's probably helped numerous other cadets that have spent many years of their teenage years like going through the cadet forces. I know that can help set you apart in an employer's eyes, and that's in employment away from any military subject whatsoever. So it's definitely a good thing.
So, to summarise and to end this podcast, we've got a very important question for you to answer. What are your top tips as a company sergeant major to succeed in the ACF? We've talked about a few: commitment. What if you had to give 5? You could only give 5 top tips to succeed in the ACF. What would they be?
Listen to anyone who's telling you something. So whether it's an adult or a senior NCO, junior NCO, or even just a senior cadet, 2-star cadets, 3-star cadets, if they've got something, a trait that they've learned over their time, or a story that might help you, or just whether they're teaching a lesson or just helping you out with something, take on what they've got to say. And if you apply that to what you're doing, it will help you stand out to whatever you're doing and help you set yourself apart. So that would be one of my top tips. Followed by what you learn in cadets, the stuff that you actually do in cadets doesn't have to be all that helps you with it. So I was talking to Colour Dobney the other week. Now that obviously he's left, and he was saying that on his last annual camp, he was asked a weapon handling test, which he hadn't done in a long time, and he completely forgot how to do a sling. So he took 10 minutes before, went on YouTube, watched a reg do it, went in and absolutely smashed it, because obviously he just watched how to do it. So you don't have to just take what you learn in lesson to go and succeed in cadets. It's about being able to take a step back, go and learn something for yourself, and then come back and show that you've had the drive to go and do it and come back and show them that you've done it. And obviously that's what helps you, again, stand out and helps you succeed in cadets, really.
Just to interrupt there, I think that's a really good point you brought up. So obviously we teach you everything you need to know in cadets before we test you. But I think that shows dedication to go out of your way to learn something, and then to apply that in cadets, because that could easily have been, as we did last week, listen to the podcast on leadership, or go and watch a video on leadership on YouTube and see how you can improve and better yourself. So I think that dedication is really important, to stay dedicated.
Yeah, those are my two main ones, really. Other than that, just try and get involved in everything that you can, every opportunity you get to do. If you can do it, go and do it. Because obviously, again, if you don't do it, you might look back on it and go, oh yeah, I wish I'd done that. But if you go and do that weekend camp or that course or whatever it is, then you won't have that feeling of, oh, I should have done that. So I think those would be my top three, really.
Yeah, so we've got listen, which I think is important. We discussed that quite heavily last week, like communication and listening to other people and taking on board what they say. Dedication and commitment. I think that sets the most senior cadets out from every other cadet. Just being dedicated and actually enjoying it. I think people hit 14, 15, 16, they lose love, or they don't enjoy it as much, and you kind of see that they don't progress as much. I think the people that reach the top at the ACF as cadets and adults, it's about enjoying it, staying dedicated and staying committed. So yeah, excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight and having this discussion. Very much appreciated. I've learned a lot. I learned a lot about you. It's good to know what cadets think nowadays. I'm quite encouraged that it's not too dissimilar to how I left cadets and when I left cadets. But yeah, it's good. It's good that you come on. So thank you very much.
Yeah.